So, our favorite government agency, the IRS, released the updated federal tax brackets for 2025. Welcome back to Dean's List. Today, we're going to dive into something that hits home for all of us and the new federal tax brackets for 2025. Not a big concern for folks that don't make a whole lot of money. So, now for you that are making millions, you probably have specialized tax advisors helping you full time. If you're poor or rich, this video is probably not for you. But for everybody stuck in the middle, pay attention. Now, you guys are the folks getting squeezed the most, and that's the middle and upper middle class families. Let's go over the big picture. The IRS just told us that there's nothing groundbreaking in terms of rates. This is a great opportunity to understand how much people are actually paying in tax. For those who are married, filing jointly, the marriage benefit really comes into play. Get a more favorable bracket structure compared to single filers. It's always been the case. So, should you get married? Fewer and fewer people are getting married these days, but from a tax standpoint, I highly recommend it. Couples pay less tax on their combined income. So, to get practical, let's say an upper middle class family with 2 kids like me in a coastal city like San Francisco, New York, LA brings in $500,000 a year. So, 20% of their income is being taxed at a 32% federal tax rate. 500 large. Sounds like a lot. But given the cost of living, that figure is really just making ends meet. I know the world's smallest violins playing for this doctor or lawyer. But in the Midwest or the South, that equivalent might be closer to only $300,000 or $400,000. Cheaper housing, cheaper living costs, and oftentimes no state income tax. So in California and New York, our income tax can add another 8 to 10% on top. And that pushes our effective tax burden much higher. Florida, Texas, Tennessee. I was just in Tennessee. It's amazing. No state income tax, and you can see a stark difference in what families get to keep every month. So let's go over our $500,000 example. California family might end up with an effective combined tax rate, federal and state, of 30%. But in Texas, you might see only 20%. Numbers might sound huge, but let's consider the expenses. For a coastal family with $500,000 in income, housing can eat up $100,000 per year or more. Healthcare premiums, that's plus $25K. Childcare for 2 kids, plus another $25K. And now you're looking at 50% of your income gone after taxes. Food, car payments, insurance, 1 or 2 nice vacations. What's left? By the end of it all, the procession of wealth is gone. There's no room for actual savings or luxuries. Trust me, ain't no Birkin bags, no Bugattis, no Ferraris. You know, maybe there's some sort of entry-level luxury club membership or gym, but it's not the lifestyles of the rich and famous from the 1980s. And let's take a step even further. You guys love this kind of stuff. What about $1 million in a city like LA? Does that make me rich? I'm gonna make $1 million a year. I'm gonna be rich. Let's break it down. Housing, a $2 million mortgage with a 30-year fixed rate at 6%. What does that cost? Monthly payment, $12,000. And let's just say that type of person is going to put $1 million or more down on the home. So we'll budget another $4,000 a month for property taxes and insurance. Annually, what does that add up to? Drum roll. $200,000 if you add in just some maintenance and monthly expenses like pools, landscaping. Federal taxes for $1 million income. Let's get squarely into the highest tax bracket. Deductions and some planning, maybe effective federal rate around 28%. California is an additional state income tax of about 12%. So our tax burden is now $400,000. Holy cannoli. We got now $200K in expenses, plus another $400K in tax expenses. Private school. Usually these types of folks will have 2 kids in private school. Could be $40,000 a pop. That's another 80. So I like cars. Family of this income probably has a Range Rover and maybe like an S-Class, you know, something cool. Maybe the dad's got like a Sunday driver. I'm talking about like a, 2018 GT3 with a manual, or maybe one of those 458 Italias. Right? You start picturing that in your head. It feels nice, right? Good incentive to make $1 million. So those monthly payments are probably going to be $2,000 a piece. Let's say another $50,000 a year for cars with insurance. Vacations. Everyone feels differently about this kind of stuff, but you make $1 million, you're going to take 2 luxury vacations a year. One's probably to a cold place for skiing, and the other one's to a warm place for beach. So at a minimum, that's $50,000. I know some of you guys are like, what? The Motel 6 in Delray Beach doesn't cost so much. Yeah, that's not where $1 million earners from LA who are at the top of their game and went to school for 15 years, that's not where they're going. So healthcare, private healthcare premiums are going to be another $20,000 for a high-income family. Food, utilities, home maintenance, entertainment, dining out, all the stuff that ends up on your wife's credit card. Let's budget another $150,000 a year from it. That's a little over 10 grand a month. Not so crazy. So total expenses, another drum roll. We're going to add up $950,000. Again, no Birkin bags, no Rolexes, no Ferraris, no Bugattis. A $1 million income, leaving you $50,000 in savings. I could blow that on a couple of dinners. Now, depending on spending habits and tax optimization, the $1 million sounded like a lot of money, but in a high-cost city like LA, that $1 million income affords you a comfortable lifestyle, and it does not make you rich. You do not have abundant disposable income or the ability to accumulate substantial wealth. What's the bottom line here? There is no income that makes you rich. It doesn't. None, right? Unless you're a quarterback, and you better be a good one. Reduce your lifestyle. Maximize your investments. That's the only way to get ahead. Now, if your employer, Google, Meta, Amazon, isn't granting you RSUs like those guys, and that's got to be a significant part of your pay package, and that stock isn't going up, you better be going the right direction, find something else to do. You gotta own a business in this economy, and that business has to have equity value, whether it's public or private. That's the only other solution. This is more true today than it has ever been. In 2025, the marriage benefit helps, but the reality for upper middle class or middle class families, especially in higher cost areas, those dollar figures don't go as far as they might seem at first glance. The headlines make it sound like 400,000 or 1 million puts you in some kind of luxury bracket. Rising costs and inflation make that money stretch real thin fast. So as we look at these new tax brackets, remind ourselves to understand where the money is going and smartly plan for it. There's power in understanding the effective tax rate and thinking ahead, not just in terms of saving taxes, but making the most of what you earn. If you enjoyed this kind of piece, this kind of analysis, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you're interested in Cardiff's high yield notes paying 15%, check out the link below. Thanks for tuning in.